Is a mini a word in its own right? A couple of friends and I were playing Boggle last night, and we came across a point of contention over the word mini. One party argued that mini is an abbreviation of miniature, and therefore not a valid word. They also argued that the same would have to hold true for a word like temp or stat, if that were the case for a mini. The other argued that it has become a word in its own right, as it has been used for so long apart from its parent word. It was even argued that mini and miniature are separate words because they mean different things. It got me thinking about how language evolves, and I wondered, which side, if any, of this discussion is correct? Can abbreviations become actual words, and is there a process for this? Are there any better examples that showcase this? Any help would be much appreciated. Edit. To clarify, the information that I am most interested in is why mini is considered standalone, whilst temp and stat are not. I'm sure there are other examples of abbreviations that are in common usage, yet are not considered proper words. Is there some sort of threshold that must be crossed, or is it a case-by-case process?
Oxford considers mini a standalone word. Adjective denoting a miniature version of something. A mini camera? So do Merriam-Webster and a variety of other sources.
Macmillan has it as a noun, synonymous with miniskirt. This also provides an example of how the adjective isn't quite a synonym for miniature. A miniature skirt would fit a small doll. Cambridge does too, along with the adjective and mini the car, though most games ban brands.
It really comes down to deciding on which expressions you want to consider to be words. That's why Scrabble dictionaries exist. There's no authority that can say mini or temp are not words. In fact, temp can be short for at least two things: temperature and temporary employee. You guys need to decide on a dictionary to use, just like Scrabble players. I would consider temp to be a word, even if it doesn't appear in any dictionary. Dictionaries cannot contain all words. Temp is also used as a verb meaning to work as a temporary employee. I checked the OED and all meanings of temp that I've mentioned have their own entries. And I think abbreviation is not the word you're looking for. Mini and temp are short, ing forms, like fridge for refrigerator. The only threshold to be crossed is if the shortened form of a word catches on, is used by enough speakers, such as net for internet. The formalization of this crossing the threshold might be inclusion in a dictionary, but dictionaries can't keep up with popular usage.
Can abbreviations become actual words? Clearly, yes. The word cab, for example, was originally short for cabriolet. And is there a process for this? Not a formal one. Something in English becomes a word when enough people use it as such. There is no board of officially approved English words to which you have to submit a request. Words in wide usage eventually find their way into dictionaries, but remember that modern English dictionaries are, primarily, descriptive, not prescriptive. The truth of the matter is that today virtually all English language dictionaries are descriptive. The editors will usually say that they are simply recording the language and how its words are used and spelled. True, there may be some guidance. For example, most Merriam-Webster dictionaries will note if certain words are deemed non-standard or offensive by most users. However, the words are still included. Of modern dictionaries, only the Funk and Wagnalls contains a certain amount of prescriptive advice. All the major dictionary publishers, Merriam-Webster, Times Mirror, World Book, and Funk and Wagnalls, will tell you that they are primarily descriptive. So if some dictionaries differ on whether to include certain words, mini, temp, stat, that is likely as much a reflection of the dictionary's editorial policy than it is a ruling on whether something is really a word. For example, here is Merriam-Webster's FAQ on how a word gets into their dictionary. To decide which words to include in the dictionary and to determine what they mean, Merriam-Webster editors study the language as it's used. They carefully monitor which words people use most often and how they use them. They describe a process by which editors scour print and electronic publications for new words or new word usages, and track them via computer. Eventually, these citations might add up. Before a new word can be added to the dictionary, it must have enough citations to show that it is widely used. But having a lot of citations is not enough. In fact, A large number of citations might even make a word more difficult to define, because many citations show too little about the meaning of a word to be helpful. A word may be rejected for entry into a general dictionary if all of its citations come from a single source or if they are all from highly specialized publications that reflect the jargon of experts within a single field. To be included in a Merriam-Webster dictionary, a word must be used in a substantial number of citations that come from a wide range of publications over a considerable period of time. Specifically, the word must have enough citations to allow accurate judgments about its establishment, currency, and meaning.
If you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.